Welcome to day 7 of the 12 Days of Data Storytelling, where I take ideas and concepts from my new book, Effective Data Storytelling, to share with you. Now, in day 7, I want to focus on 7 essential principles for better visual storytelling, starting with principle 1, where we have the right data. And so often when you're transitioning from exploratory to explanatory, you may need to change the data so that it communicates more clearly. For example, you might be working with totals, but you need to change to variance, percent change. Maybe you need to bring in more context to show year-over-year trends. In this example here, I have a bar chart and you can compare the 2 years, but what if we instead did the math for the audience and just showed the variance between those 2 years? It's much more easier for them to consume and follow. The second principle is choosing the right visualizations. We have lots of visualization options and they can be categorized into different categories such as comparison, trend, relationship, distribution, spatial flow, parts of a whole, composition. So as we choose our visualization, we need to be aware of how effectively they communicate what we're trying to share with the audience. In this case here, I have a pie chart, and if I'm trying to show the comparisons between those wedges, it can be hard for people to follow and really make accurate comparisons. Whereas if I use a bar chart, all of a sudden it's much more easy for them to see the differences between those values. The third principle is to have the right configuration. What I mean by that is you may have chosen the right visualization, but is it configured in a way that's going to speak to the audience? In this example here, I have different values of product lines by region. If I'm presenting this information to regional managers, this configuration of the chart might work well. However, if I'm presenting to product managers, I might need to go with a slightly different approach. The fourth principle is to remove noise. As we go from exploratory to explanatory, we can be bringing over a lot of noise in our data. We want to make sure that we minimize that as much as possible. So in this example here, we have a donut chart with lots of different wedges, lower values. That can be overwhelming for an audience. What we might want to do is aggregate some of those values that are not as important to our story. There we have a visualization that's much easier for people to consume. 5, focus attention on what's really important. If we look at our charts, a lot of the times there's information in those charts that's more important, more relevant than other data points. So we can use something like color to bring to the foreground the data point we want to really emphasize to our audience and push everything else that's not essential to the background using grayscale. 6, we want to make our information more approachable, more consumable, more engaging. So again, this is about the design choices we're making, little subtle things that we can do, such as not having a legend, maybe direct labeling the charts, or in this example here, maybe we take the column chart and we change it to a bar chart so that the labels are easier to read. We can more easily read horizontal text than we can vertical or diagonal text. And the last one is to instill trust. At the end of the day, we want people to trust our numbers. We don't want them to see us as being deceptive or dishonest with how we're conveying our information, and we might do it inadvertently. So in this example here, we have a bar chart. And what Excel does often is it'll truncate the y-axis. And that can then lead to us kind of misrepresenting the proportions. And so we want to be careful about that as we go to communicate our information. Hopefully these 7 principles that I've shared with you are helpful to you. You'll find much more information and examples in the book. I look forward to sharing more with you in day 8 of the 12 Days of Data Storytelling. Thank you.